Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Cal Royal. This is their part number HP9526. This is a hinge pin doorstop is what it is. This is a very typical piece of hardware that you're going to see in residential applications where you would like to have a provision to prevent the door from swinging generally into something or past a certain point. And the hinge pin doorstop, of which there's more than one design, this is a common design to be sure. What you basically do is you'll temporarily remove the pin out of the hinge, insert it down into that hole, and then place the entire hinge pin back into the knuckles of your hinge barrel. You generally see them installed at the top of the door. I would not see any reason to deviate from that at all, and I would probably suggest that it would be the preferred location. It's less out of the way of making contact with anyone, perhaps walking. If you have a corridor with doors that swing into a corridor, that projecting hardware will be up higher, I suppose. At the top is where you generally see it. That's where I always see it. And let's take a closer look at this. So this has a threaded post that will allow you to control that point of pivot or that point of stop from, probably somewhere in the range of 85 degrees all the way to about maybe 120 degree, something in that range. And that's controlled by how you set the position of that threaded post. Okay, you thread it all the way out, you'll be able to, have that door certainly stop. It'll definitely go below 90 degree to be sure. Yeah, you could probably get it down to probably 70 degree would be my guess. So the question that goes along with these is, how large of a pin can I stick in there? Well, the ID of where the pin would enter is 0.301 inch, 0.301. There's also a bushing that is included if you needed to close that down. Very likely you will if you have a residential hinge. And that ID is about 0.245. 0.245. This is in a chrome style finish, a 26 they call it, which would technically infer polished chrome, and it is a shiny chrome. It's a very inexpensive piece of equipment. I have, everyone has had one in a home they lived in at some point, certainly. The one in my current home is on the bathroom door, and I, didn't build the house, didn't design the house. I wouldn't have used this at all had I done any of that. But there is a bathroom door that swings to 90 degree, and if it goes to about 100, it's going to hit the sliding louver doors behind it. So you go into the bathroom, close the door, you have access to bypassing louver doors. And the hinge pin that's there does a reasonably, and because it's adult used, there's things, there's not an event that's going to crash into the door for the most part. The proper piece of hardware would have been an overhead stop, and I would have ordered the doors and frames in those instances where I needed to limit the degree of opening with a proper piece of equipment. I don't like hinge pin doorstops because they are really meant to have very small amount of force applied to them. I have seen the door pad rupture the face of the door in a hollow core sense. I have seen the door pushed so severely that the portion that makes contact with the frame, but actually the casing, actually peel that casing back and away, prying it off as if you stuck a hammer under one end, a claw hammer, and pulled the casing off and tipped it off. These extreme events can cause that sort of damage, but in an adult environment where there's no likelihood of error happening to the door, these will operate. Classic application is a bathroom again, when the door only opens up so far before it hits the commode. So you'll see them all the time. They're inexpensive, they're fairly reliable. They're good when you don't want to install a door stop into the base. Maybe you don't have a base that you can install it into. You might just have a drywall detail all the way to the floor, okay? And at times, short of an overhead door stop, which is basically a slide track mechanism that are surface mounted, but in this case you'd probably want them concealed, which of course they can be made in, are not an option lots of times because of the cost. The additional labor to make it all work, to machine the header and the door to make them work. You go from the proper piece of equipment all the way down to the least desirable, and sometimes the default least common denominator is indeed the hinge pin stop. There's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Cal Royal products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Full product catalog, manufacturer's website, all the Cal Royal products we sell. Any questions on the HP9526 hinge pin doorstop in a polished chrome type finish or any other Cal Royal product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.